Hello, I'm Edwin Blanton, Coordinator for Community Service and Engagement. I'm going to talk with you about the model of service that we use here at Trinity University.
We look at service as a journey comprised of three components: volunteerism, education, and reflection. We'll look at the model which uses a mountain range to display this journey. Here is the model of this journey towards service. As in any journey, there are several paths that can be taken, and the model allows for a choice of ascending the education mountain or the volunteerism mountain first. Let's take a look at them more in depth. First is education. Notice that a person can learn about something and then volunteer their way to service. Or they can volunteer and then further their education about the subject with which they volunteered. Like mentioned with journeys, there are several paths one can take. Education can of course happen in the co-curricular or curricular environments, such as academic service learning. Educational resources that are out there and learning about something on your own are also ways that we can fulfill the education paths. Learning from community leaders, either on your own or at a presentation, may also be used. So let's go back to the model and look at another mountain. Volunteerism. Volunteerism can happen first, and then a person decides to learn more on their journey to service, or a person learns about something, becomes interested, and decides to volunteer in that field. Similar to what we had on the education mountain, we also have many paths in volunteerism. The paths in volunteerism are based on Maimonides' ladder of charity that he developed back in the 12th century. This is an interesting way for people to think about their volunteer activities. Again, you don't have to take all these paths to get to where you are going. The first path is where volunteerism is done grudgingly. This is typical with court-appointed service hours. The second path looks at the time a volunteer commits. The next four paths look at whether people are self-motivated and how closely they are involved with those being served. The next three have to deal with the identity of the volunteer and the recipient, with one of these paths being where they are both unknown to each other. This happens most commonly in a food bank. The final path, which Maimonides referred to as the highest form, is to help a person become self-sufficient. An example of this is volunteering with someone as they work towards earning their GED. Back to the model, we need to look at a few other components. Reflection. Service is not achieved without reflection. Reflection is symbolized as the sun, because like the sun, reflection should be present throughout your journey so that a person can take the time necessary to think about their education and volunteer experiences. Reflection can take many forms, including being alone with your thoughts, journal writing, or small group discussion after a service project. It should also be noted that service can be continuous and happen over a long period of time. Let's look at the model once more to discover that beyond mountains, there are many other mountains, such as social responsibility and responsible global citizenship. But also there are mountains that are not labeled, so that an individual can define what they believe those mountains are. So there we have Blanton's model of service. I hope that you found it informative.